A joyous occasion turns tragic when a Houston mom is killed while dropping her son off at the Naval Academy in Maryland, where he had signed to play football. Police say Michelle Cummings was sitting on the patio outside her hotel in Annapolis with her husband when she was hit by several bullets. Investigators say it was a drive-by shooting, and they don't think she was the intended target. In fact, they say the gunfire, they believe, came from a few streets over.
Oh, man. This one really messed me up, man. This one really messed me up. I mean, I do a lot of these stories, guys, and this one really messed me up. And I know the pro-blacks are going to say you're doing this because you hate yourself. Or you got some agenda where you know, or it's because you ain't ADOS. It's because of every reason why I'm doing this. Even though I am ADOS. I'm half ADOS. FBA, whatever y'all want to call it. But it's every reason I'm doing this, except for the fact that this is just this is horrible, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to get all the way into this like we always do. Take the $5 challenge. Support the channel. That's what this woman, this mother from Houston, this is what this channel's about. That son who has now your mom and your dad dropping you off to school at the Naval Academy. Navy. America. Where you're going to serve your country. The father who was sitting there with his wife when boom, 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 his wife just gets hit up. That's who this channel's about. Don't listen to them pro-blacks when they say it's because I hate myself and all that crap and I'm trying to destroy the black community. This channel is about people like this woman. That's who this channel's about.
So what turned out to be a celebratory occasion for the family, celebrating their son going into one of the best institutions in the United States, turned into a tragic event.
The couple's son, Leonard Cummings, played football at Westfield High School in Northwest Houston. These are photos from his signing day. According to the district, his mom was president of the Football Booster Club during his senior year. Leonard spent a year at the Naval Academy prep school before moving to the main campus. The mayor of Annapolis says they have a crisis team helping the family. No arrests have been made.
A mother from Houston is shot and killed by a stray bullet while in Maryland to drop off her son at the U.S. Naval Academy.
Her son was beginning his first year as a football player at the Naval Academy. Michelle Cummings was hit by that stray bullet just after midnight outside of a hotel not far from the Naval Academy.
Our Keith Garvin is live at Westfield High School where her son just graduated. And Keith, we understand this mom was very involved with the football program there.
Christine, that is correct. She was very active with the booster club here with the Mustangs. She was already playing a role with the football moms at the Naval Academy, and sadly, her son will now not have his mother there when he begins his career at the Naval Academy.
How does this kid even begin his career at the Naval Academy? How does he not take the semester or the year off? How do you just, because football season starts, spring practice has already started, so as the months go on, they start in late August. This season starts in late August. So they're in full swing now. How does this kid recover from this? Just play football this year? I just don't understand that. I just don't understand it. And of course, plan to see less outrage over a crackhead getting killed while resisting arrest. I already know that when they talk to these people, I haven't seen these videos yet. I just heard about this a few minutes ago. When you I guarantee everybody I talk to is less disturbed about this than they are a career criminal beating up some cops and getting shot, or somebody getting killed in a drug raid. Now my question is, do those people hate themselves? I don't think so, but I'm just saying, it would make more sense that they hate themselves.
Man, that's tragic. That's tragic. Sadness in a North Houston neighborhood after the senseless death of a beloved wife, mother, neighbor, and friend. Michelle Cummings died Tuesday in Annapolis, Maryland, after being struck by a stray bullet. She and her husband were in town to drop off their son, Trey, for his first year as a football player at the United States Naval Academy. Sweetest lady. Every morning we come out here with my daughter, man, she speaks, and my daughter loves talking to her. Police in Maryland say early Tuesday morning, Cummings was seated on a patio at the Graduate Hotel. It sits less than a mile from the academy and the Maryland State House. Medics tried to save Cummings, but she was pronounced dead at the scene.
Dead at the scene. Yikes. So it wasn't like, so when her husband was sitting there next to her on this patio and the bullets hit her, it wasn't like, all right, baby, we're going to rush you to the hospital. Baby, please make sure I don't die. Baby, get me to the hospital. Please, call the 911, baby. It was, boom, she was dead. Didn't go into surgery, the family waiting for the doctor to come out, the operating room. None of that. Boom, 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 dead on the spot from bullets down the street. Now, Annapolis, as we know, like every other city, it's a city, so plagued with son violence. Plagued with son violence. Son violence is off the chart. It's not a suburb of D.C., it's more of a suburb of Maryland, but it's its own city, because where it's located is kind of far enough away from Baltimore and far enough away from D.C. to be its own entity. I've been to Annapolis dozens of times. My Aunt Bert used to live out there. I used to go out there all the time to see Aunt Bert. But it's always been like that. Always been hood. As you can see, the population in Annapolis is very diverse. 63% white, 21.7% African American. So it's very diverse. We make up 12% of the population in the nation, make up 21% of the population in Annapolis. And then you have the fact that it's situated between two chocolate cities, DC and actually three if you consider PG County, which is a chocolate county. So it's a lot of us out there. So let's go off to the gun memorial. And with us, as you see in every city, we're overrepresented on the gun memorial, the list of all the fatal gunshot victims. We're overrepresented. We're not 21% of the gun memorial. We're never the percentage of the population. We're always far exceed our representation when it comes to the gun memorial. So they have violence. Annapolis is not a place where they don't have the population to compete with, cities like Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis, or whatever you want to call it. The population is not that large. But for a city its size, it's dangerous in certain areas. But it's beautiful in a lot of areas, too. There's a lot of hardworking black people there, a lot of law-abiding black citizens, a lot of, black people that just go do their thing every day. Raise their families, pay their bills, take trips, shuttle their kids to practice. But as you see, when it comes to gun violence, we're overrepresented by far.
Michelle Cummings died Tuesday in Annapolis, Maryland, after being struck by a stray bullet. She and her husband were in town to drop off their son, Trey, for his first year as a football player at the United States Naval Academy.
Sweetest lady. Every morning we come out here with my daughter, man, she speaks, and my daughter loves talking to her.
Police in Maryland say early Tuesday morning, Cummings was seated on a patio at the Graduate Hotel. It sits less than a mile from the academy and the Maryland State House. Medics tried to save Cummings, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. Law enforcement is sending a strong message to the shooter.
We're going to come after you. We want you to come and enjoy the city of Annapolis, but the one thing that we're not going to tolerate is this lawlessness.
Cummings' son Trey was a standout football player at Westfield High School. Spring ISD released a statement Tuesday evening saying the community was devastated, adding that Michelle Cummings was a very engaged parent at Westfield High School. She served as the president of the Westfield High School Football Booster Club and was always ready to support our student athletes. Neighbors say they are praying for the family and are ready to offer their support.
That's hard task to deal with, man. That's a setback, to lose your loved one like that. A lot of sleepless nights. So, I'm concerned about them for that aspect.
We spoke to a friend of the family who started a GoFundMe account for funeral expenses for the Cummings family. She told me that tomorrow that students at the Naval Academy were going to be swearing in on their oaths to begin their time at the Naval Academy. And sadly, Trey Cummings will not have his mother there when he takes that oath.
I just don't know how he takes that oath tomorrow. How he's there. This kid's probably shell-shocked. This kid is probably... He's in a daze, man. This kid's in no shape to be taking some oath about... man.
If you would like to donate to that GoFundMe for funeral expenses, please look for the link for that GoFundMe in this story at ClevelandHouston.com. Reporting live from Westfield High School, Keith Garvin, KPRC 2 News.
It should have been one of the happiest days of their lives. A mom dropping her son off for his first year at the Naval Academy.
Like most, when you send your son off or your daughter off to a service academy, you're worried about two things. Number one,
you notice how the white people are always the ones that show emotion. The black people, they're just so used to this. Even most times they don't care, but they're so used to this. I want you guys to notice that. And I'm not saying that white people are better people than black people. I'm not saying that. This doesn't happen. This black woman grew up, wherever she grew up, pick a city. It was constant shootings and violence and people dying all the time. Pick a city in a neighborhood. Unless she grew up in, it's a dozen, maybe a dozen black neighborhoods in the whole country where this stuff doesn't happen. This white guy, he probably grew up in a white community. Yeah, there was that time the kids went down by the lake and Randy shot Cody and it ain't been a murder in his town since. Except for the time Miss Wachowski was found dead and they charged Mr. Wachowski with the death. But every day in this black woman's community, she saw death and violence. Or shootings, at least. Even if nobody got killed, shootings and beefing and bro. So she sees this story that just would make anybody tug at heartstring. And as a woman, zero emotion. But as a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, and it's across the board with them. Like, nobody, they should be tearing Annapolis up. Annapolis should be burning until this guy comes, until they find the guy who did this. There won't be one protest. There won't be one march. Not one. Not even the one march with 12 people out there. No. Nothing. The community just apathy to this stuff. And it's because it happens so often. But this story, I don't know how you, as a woman, you don't show any emotion about this. But they're lifeless because of the way the community they lived in, and you see it every day because this is going to happen tomorrow and the next day. And listen, newsflash, guys, I'm only covering a drop of the bucket on this channel. If I covered all this stuff, you guys it will make your head spin.
A mom dropping her son off for his first year at the Naval Academy.
Like most, when you send your son off or your daughter off to a service academy, you're worried about two things. Number one, you're proud of them. The other, you're scared of the possibility that they may have to go off to war one day. Nobody thought that this mom would be shot and killed before his cap would go out in the air.
WMER2 News' Ray Strickland is live in Annapolis for us tonight, where a news conference about the murder just wrapped up. Ray, what do you have for us?
And Kelly, the mother has been identified as 57-year-old Michelle Jordan Cummings. She was from Houston, as you mentioned, here in Annapolis, as her son was set to be inducted into the Naval Academy. We've also learned her son was a prospect for the school's football program. A celebratory moment now turned into a one of mourning overnight when police say Cummings, who was sitting outside on a hotel patio at a hotel here in Annapolis with her husband and other parents, was hit with multiple stray bullets. She later died from those injuries. Now, we're told the shooting happened after midnight in the 100 block of West Street. Those bullets came from a shooting earlier on Pleasant. Two people in a car were being shot at. Annapolis Police Chief and the mayor were visibly upset during this press conference about this tragedy. The chief says his detectives are now working every lead possible, checking public and private cameras, and will work around the clock until this case is solved. He also says detectives recovered evidence.
A very tragic story.
So far, of course, black police chief, but white people and cops, the most visibly upset by this. Now, I know every white person is racist and they holding you back, and every black person is in jail because of minor weed offenses. I get it.
A very tragic story. Miss Cummings and her husband brought their son to settle in. He's to be inducted into the United States Naval Academy. He's also a prospect for the football team. So it turned out to be a celebratory occasion for the family, celebrating their son going into one of the best institutions in the United States, turned into a tragic event.
And the mayor, who was also at this press conference, says he has deployed the crisis intervention team to assist the victim's family. Now, the chief of police says if you know any information about what happened, he wants you to call 410-260-349, and you can also call and leave a tip anonymously with Metro Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-8667-LOCK-UP. Live in Annapolis, I'm Ray Strickland, WMAR2 News.
Angie and Jim, the shooting happened at this hotel on West Street. It's less than a mile from the Maryland State House. The woman killed was out on a patio with some other people. She was celebrating that her son is about to be inducted into the Naval Academy and play football. I spoke to a friend who talked to her hours before the shooting.
Michelle was so happy that Trey is about to start his journey in the Naval Academy.
Verana Phillips' son is also starting that journey and playing football for the Naval Academy.
Look at all these black people sending their kids to the Naval Academy in this racist country. White supremacy, yada, yada, yada. We can't get ahead because they got our foot on our neck. These two families, this woman and the woman, God, dog, who was killed. Now, we know that they talk the whole wokey woke. All respectable black people spent the last year and a half talking about how every reason there's so many black people in jail is because of minor weed offenses. That's my favorite one. The reason there's so many black people in jail is because of minor weed offenses. And the cops are just running up on black people for no reason and beating them down everywhere you go. And I tell you, is that what you're seeing? Look around you when you go out. I'm at District Taco right now, local taco joint. I never see this. I don't even see arrests because I don't go to the places where they're selling drugs and shooting people at. But I rarely even see arrests just by happenstance, let alone police brutality. So people like this woman and the woman who got killed spent the last year, trust me, I know these type of people, upper middle class blacks spent the last year and a half talking about how everything is white people's fault and black people can do no wrong. And that's what makes this even more sad.
Michelle was so happy that Trey is about to start his journey in the Naval Academy.
Verana Phillips' son is also starting that journey and playing football for the Naval Academy. They dropped their sons off yesterday ahead of Wednesday's induction ceremony.
You know, we were so excited that they are here.
But Michelle Jordan Cummings won't get to see her son become a midshipman. She was here in Annapolis from Houston, Texas. Police say she was out on this hotel patio with her husband and another couple. It was after midnight. Investigators believe a shot was fired from behind the hotel on Pleasant Street, a stray bullet that struck Cummings and killed her.
You come here with the expectation to see your son go on a journey, and in one of the most exciting times of his life, only to be met by a reckless shooter. So what I'll say to the shooter, turn yourself in. We're coming after you.
Annapolis Police Chief Edward Jackson says shootings in this area are extremely rare, but there was some kind of altercation.
Multiple shots were fired at individuals and a parked car.
Cummings' son Trey tweeting tonight, why? Families tell us he will be inducted as planned on Wednesday.
He tweeted why. That just goes to show you how this generation is different. How do you even tweet? Not saying he's bad, or what he did is bad, just how do you even get out of whatever stupid you're in? To even lift your finger, think about, but that's the culture. They grew up in this. Everybody already had a cell phone when he was born. He's 18. He was born in 2003. You know, as long as he's been conscious and talking and walking and conscious of what's going on around him, there's been social media. So this is just normal. But somebody from my generation, you're just going to, like, how do you tweet this soon? Like, but this generation, and he says, why? Why? What do you mean, why? How do you, because some people got to shoot and there was an argument. And some people in a parked car and somebody shot at them. God, that's why. Yikes. That's why his mom had to die. Had she been anywhere else in the world at that moment, she would have been alive. Had she been 2 feet to the left, 2 feet to the right, 6 inches to the left, 6 inches to the right, had she gone to the bathroom, had she bent down to get her drink in that moment, had she leaned over to hug her husband, had she reared back in laughter, the bullet goes past her. Or and we do this all day long. Make sure you subscribe. This happens all the time. to people like her. Not the thugs and gangbangers all the time. This happens all the time to people just like her. And no one says anything. And the people who do say something, they say that you hate black people if you talk about it. The only way black people will let you talk about this is if somehow you blame this on white people. And they don't even want to hear that much. But if you're going to talk about it, blame it on white people and be done with it.
Tweeting tonight, why? Families tell us he will be inducted as planned on Wednesday.
Basically, that's what his mom would want him to do. And he's strong, probably stronger than I could be.
Phillips lives here in Maryland. She's among a tight-knit group of football mothers who immediately started a fundraiser for the family.
$17,947. What do you expect? I mean, this does not move. The people who would donate to this thing right here are really white liberals. If a black person gets a big GoFundMe, it's going to be white liberals donating to it. The only time white liberals donate is when cops are involved. Or a white vigilante. So basically, white liberals donate to 0.00001% of black people's GoFundMes.
She's among a tight-knit group of football mothers who immediately started a fundraiser for the family. We spoke by phone to another mom, overcome with emotion as she vowed to continue that support in the years to come.
Trey wants to take the oath tomorrow with his class, and a lot of the mothers will be there to support.
Damn, this country's terrible at racism. All these black boys going to the Naval Academy. In the middle of these times. I heard some sister online talking about these times are so hectic, everyone's so confused, no one knows what to do.
This is a very personal topic to me, particularly because I'm African American and I've dealt with systematic racism in a lot of different institutions and in a variety of settings. And so my hope today is to provide 3 practical tools that you can use to help you if you have dealt with systematic racism yourself and to help you heal from that. So, tip number 1 is first putting to words when you have experienced racism. And I say that because so often we as people of color can experience these things and not even know it. And so when we go day to day and experience discrimination and systematic racism, it is a form of trauma. And that form of trauma is due its attention to be processed and to create a plan to be able to heal from that. Tip number 2 is being able to process it and recognize that it is trauma. It's a traumatic experience to deal with racism or be robbed of certain opportunities or to be treated a certain way because of the color of your skin.
It's just so crazy out here with all that's going on. She was talking about like the social justice stuff. No, it's not. Go to the supermarket. That stuff is only on social media. Nobody in real life is worried about none of that stuff. Everybody knows that's a sham, unless they're actively at a protest or they're on social media. Other than that, everybody's living life, enjoying themselves, interracial dating, going about their business, holding the door for white people holding the door for black people. Asian people holding the door for Hispanic people, all this racial justice, none of that is real. But one thing that's real is the crime rate going up and black people keep getting hit with stray bullets. That's real.
Trey wants to take the oath tomorrow with his class. And a lot of the mothers will be there to support the Cummings family. And we're going to be there for the family every step of the way.
Such a strong support system, even though these families live all across the country. Tonight, police are vowing to work around the clock. They say they are looking for any surveillance video from this area that could help find the person or people responsible. Back